Hey there, Winnie Anderson here. Welcome to Wednesday. I am a business growth and positioning strategist for mission-driven, introverted, service-based professionals who are ready to come out of hiding, ready to stand up and stand out, and ready to embrace their role as trusted advisor and lead their clients as they bring about change in the world. I am also the host of the Courageous Entrepreneur Show. That's the show that shares information and inspiration to help you break free from self-doubt, limiting beliefs and disempowering patterns, and break through to create the thriving, successful business you dream of and deserve. The show features interviews with entrepreneurs who've overcome amazing challenges to share success on their terms, and experts who share insight and practical information to help you achieve your big mission. Hey, Linda. The show airs on Mondays. That is when the regular weekly episode comes out. And then on Wednesdays, I'm here on Facebook Live doing what I call the after show. Yes, I stole that from Oprah. And that's where I go into a little bit deeper with one of the points that I think is really important and needs to be much more emphasized from the episode on Monday. So this show, I'm going to just share just a little bit about the episode this week, and then we'll dive into today's content. And this week's show, the link is at winnieanderson.com/alignment. And of course, I'm going to share the links to any of the resources that I mentioned in the comment area below after this episode is over. So the episode is titled Creating a Success Mindset, and it features an interview with Emma Churchman. Emma is a mindset and money coach, and I have her intro right here. She believes that success in business is 10% execution and logistics and 90% managing ourselves. Amen. Managing our thoughts, our beliefs, our emotions, or the choices that we make, our ability or inability to take action. She teaches mindset success and how to take aligned action as part of her coaching practice. So let me just share some highlights of what we covered in that episode. We talked about what exactly does it mean to be conscious, the problem with following someone else's formula for business success, what it means to be authentic, and why it's so important in the process of creating abundance. The 3 things that keep you from making sales, that alone is worth the price of listening, which of course is free, and why you have to face past trauma in order to run a successful business. So you can watch, listen, and download the episode, the audio version of the episode, and you can get the worksheet at winnieanderson.com/alignment. Each episode moving forward is going to come with a worksheet, and that worksheet is designed to help you think through your reflection exercise and your action step. Regular listeners or viewers of the show know that at the end of every episode, I share what I call a cocktail exercise along with an action step. A cocktail exercise, no alcohol needs to be involved, of course. Hey, Susan Weeks. However, right, don't drink and drive, don't overindulge. A cocktail exercise is really what I call a reflection exercise, right? So I decided to create a worksheet that would help you step through thinking through the key points in that episode. All right, so there are lots of things that I could talk about in relationship to this show, but I think the most important element to dig deep into is this issue of alignment that Emma mentioned. So I'm a wordsmith. Many of you guys know that I am an author, writer as well, and I teach writing and help people publish their books. The word alignment, so I like to get into, the definition of the word. The word alignment is defined, and of course I have notes here. So it's defined as forming a line, the proper positioning or state of adjustment of parts in relation to each other. That's important. I think the best definition, though, for how we use alignment in business is an arrangement of groups or forces in relation to one another. And you can find those definitions at Merriam-Webster.com. So what are we talking about when we speak about being alignment or being aligned when it comes to business? Well, way back in the Paleolithic era, when I was in human resources, we talked about alignment a lot. And really what we were talking about then was our beliefs, our values, our mission, our vision, and are they aligned or in sync in the organization? Is each department supporting every other department? Are we all supporting the global mission of the organization and working to maximize the value for shareholders, maximize the experience for our customers? Well, if you've ever worked somewhere and felt that you didn't fit in, and I know you know what that feels like, especially for those of us who are corporate escapees, right? You felt that you didn't fit in because in some way it's likely that you were out of alignment with the organization. I left my job at the casino hotel that I worked for when I realized that my vision for myself, my desires for myself, were out of alignment with the company's vision for me and its goals for me. They wanted to send me all around the world, literally. I'd already been traveling a lot throughout the country, and they had a vision of me being this big corporate director of training who spent time at the sister properties and really was never home. No thanks. Didn't want it. Had done it, been there, done that, and I wanted to leverage technology to beam me out to the world, and they wanted to send me. So anyway, long story short, you get the message. When you're out of alignment, it just makes you miserable, really. So when we talk about alignment in terms of branding, we're talking about all of the pieces of the business fitting together to support the messaging of the company. And again, that ties back to values, mission, vision, and ultimately to beliefs. So how does this then relate to us as solo professionals? Well, for one, we spend so much time in organizational life that it can be hard for us to really be clear on what our vision, mission, values, beliefs are, because we had put all of our efforts in supporting the organizational mission. So I don't know about you, by the time I went on my own, I had already spent decades in the workforce and had spent a long period of time working in human resources, creating the vision, mission, values, etc., for the overall organizations that I worked with. So it really became difficult for me to figure out who was I and where was I trying to go, what was I trying to build. Well, when I interviewed speaker and author Mark Baker, who is from the UK, he talked about how we're like sponges as children, and we absorb the values and messages of those around us. And Emma talked about the same thing, the fact that from 0 to about 7, maybe 0 to 10, we are just bombarded with the messages of our family of origin, the media, the scholastic institutions that we belong to, and those beliefs get absorbed into us and they begin to influence who we're becoming. So at some point we have to get clear on our own beliefs, our own values, and then work to bring our actions into alignment with those beliefs. So today, that's what I want to talk to you about and look at just exactly how do we do that. So Sue says, and I know you're laughing about my corporate escapee comments, Sue says that was a great episode with Mark Baker. It absolutely was, and I'm going to include a link to that in the comment area. So for those of you who are watching this on replay, go back and check through all of the comments here to get the links to various resources. And for those of you who are watching live now, please feel free to ask questions, make comments, and I will, because I have 2 monitors, right, I will be going back and forth and I'll be commenting and replying to you. And if you are watching this on replay again, I will be circling back to respond to your comments and questions as well. All right, so let's look at how do we bring our values, beliefs, etc. into alignment, and why is that important for our business? Well, I'm going to tell you. So in its most simple form, you look at what you say and compare it to what you do, and you look for the gap. That's how you start to look at whether you're out of alignment or not. Another really powerful way to recognize you're out of alignment is when there's something that doesn't feel right inside of you. And I know you know exactly what I'm talking about. When you do something, when you say yes to something that you wish you had said no to, you are out of alignment, and you can feel that tension internally. So that's really at its most basic level. That's what I'm talking about. Saying one thing, wishing you had said or done another, and it's that gap that's where you're out of alignment. I wrote a book about 10 years ago called Faith from 9 to 5, and it was basically built on the premise that we're people of faith 24 hours a day. And if you say you believe certain things, you have certain tenets of your faith, then they should apply even while you're at work. So, for example, let's say you believe that love thy neighbor is an important commandment and concept, and dozens of religions and belief systems hold that element as a foundational concept, right? It's often referred to as the golden rule. I'm going to take a sip. Pardon me one second. Hey, Dawn, we have got to schedule a catch-up call. Hi, Walter. Nice to see you. All right, so where was I? So this issue of love thy neighbor, foundational concept in the belief systems of dozens of religions and dozens of systems, right? Or cultural systems. It's a foundational concept. It's often referred to as the golden rule, right? It was cited by Jesus as one of the two greatest commandments. So you have to ask yourself then, if I believe in love thy neighbor, why am I mean to the person I work with or to the people I work with, right? If you say that it's important to you, love thy neighbor is important to you, and if you say service is important, then as a business person, all of your policies should support delivery of great service. They should be working in concert. They should be in sync. They should be in alignment with each other. So if you believe each of us is given unique gifts and talents that you're meant to serve a specific audience, then to not serve that audience is to be out of alignment. Okay, I hope that makes sense. Feel free to question, comment, and I will dive in and respond. So, all right, where does alignment come from? Right? Have you ever thought about that? Where exactly does it come from? Well, I believe it comes from your heart, because that's where your mission is. That's where God put your mission. It's on your heart. I travel a lot, and I listen to books and webinars when I drive, the audio portion of a webinar. And I remember hearing one person on one of the many things I listen to talking about how business is simple and how you just have to believe that things are going to work out. Business is simple. And I remember thinking, that guy is so full of crap, because business is hard. But I've come to recognize that in a way, he was really right. It's just that it's so hard to do. It's so hard to be in alignment, and it's so hard to lead with your heart. So if you're experiencing something that you don't want in your business, I'm going to challenge you to identify where you are out of alignment. And please know, I'm not shaming you. I'm not judging you, because sisters and brothers, I've been there. Okay, it really, truly is hard to get to the essence of your beliefs, get to the essence of what you value, and then be courageous enough to put it out there. So, for example, let's just look at some examples, right? So if you say that you want to work with high-value clients, then you have to ask yourself, do you have high-value offers? Do you really deliver something that is worth that high price that you're going to be asking people to pay? Now, I'm not going to ask you to just suspend your belief right now for a second, because this is one area where we really get tripped up as well. And I'm going to be talking about this in just a few minutes. But we are so riddled with self-doubt that we don't believe our offerings are worthy of the price that we want to charge. Now, I could go off on a tangent for hours, and I won't. However, one thing I will mention, that it's okay to, yes, you want to get to this price, right? It's okay to undercharge for a couple of people as you start to build your portfolio of work and you start to get those testimonials, and you can rationalize that as, I'm sacrificing some dollars for having great case studies. There's nothing wrong with that. Hey, that's how I've progressed and built my business. And it's how I encourage people to build theirs. When you have no prior experience and you are looking for some wins, right? And then you just raise that price as you go. So anyhow, you want to ask yourself if what you want and what you're doing is going to get you what you want. So if you have a message that can help others achieve something, but you're not putting your message out there, then you're out of alignment. And I totally respect that this is an incredibly difficult thing to do. I'm an introvert myself, and I find it painful to talk about myself and to really put myself out there in a big way. But I came to the recognition about 18 months ago, 2 years ago, that I had a message that could help somebody, and I needed to get it out to those particular people. So we can be so fearful about getting our message out. We're fearful about being rejected. We're fearful of making a mistake. And here's one of the biggest ways to get past fear. It's to embrace the opposite, and that's love. The opposite of love is not hate. The opposite of love is fear. And I'm not kidding. It really is. So I want you to think about it. If you love the work you do, and you love the outcome that you deliver, and you love the people that you serve, and I mean that genuinely, how would your life be different if you could say, I love the work I do, I love the outcome I deliver, I love the people that I serve? How would your life be different? Would it be more fun? Would it be more joyful? Would you be making more money? Well, one way it would be different is you would be in a happier place. Life is too short to do work you don't love and to work with people you don't love. When you come from a place of love, you care more about the message. You care more about getting the message out and helping the people that message is meant to serve. See, we try too hard to appeal to everyone. Part of that is because we're afraid of being rejected. Part of it is we're telling ourselves we need money, we need clients, we need these things. But when you come from a place that's needy, you actually repel what you want. This again it comes from, part of it is our corporate conditioning. And where in corporate life we worked too hard to try to please everybody, because God forbid that somebody should think that you weren't a team player, right? So this issue is, in my opinion, it's the foundation for creating a success mindset. So you cognitively know that you need to focus on a specific audience, but you might be resisting it for some reason. You and your message aren't right for people it's not right for. It's not. And it's not right for everybody. And believe me, I'm not right for everybody. When you love your message and you share it from a place of love, you don't care about haters and the people who say no, because you know you're not talking to them. I'll give you an example. About 18 months ago, I actually got my first hater. This person And this continues to make me scratch my head, but I digress. This person sent me a long Facebook message, I mean paragraphs long, telling me how she was sick and tired of hearing about my head injury, and she was sick and tired of hearing from me in general. At first, I was genuinely hurt, because who wants to read that crap, right? And, so instantly, man, that stings, because, hey, we're friends, right? You connected to me. Then I thought, you know what? I'm not talking to you. Click. Unfriend. I'm not talking to you. I'm talking to people who hear my message and go, you know what? Amen, sister. I really don't want people who are lukewarm to me. To be honest with you, I really don't. I want people who love my message. I want people who are passionate about getting their message out in the world. Maybe they haven't figured out how to do it yet. Or maybe they're working with some internal issues that they need to get past, right? And the folks I work with, many have emotional wounds, but this is why I work with introverts, because we think differently than extroverts do. And we process information differently than extroverts do. And I feel we're underserved. So remember, when you get a hater or when you get a no, ask yourself if you're really talking to that person. So, and I'm not saying that you don't want to get better at delivering your message. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that when you're putting your message out there and you hear no, that is a sign that the message is not resonating with them. Now, if you thought that person would be an ideal client for you, then you want to sit back and go, reflection exercise, cocktail exercise time. What about that person? What did I miss something? Were they telegraphing to me that they weren't ready to have this conversation? Or do I see them succeeding where maybe they're not ready for what I offer yet? So when you're talking to that right audience, the message will resonate with them. And like I said, doesn't mean that you can't improve it. You can't become more powerful. But the word resonate means to sound again. So in business, we use it to mean a connection, right? That what you said resonated with me because it sounded again inside me. It stuck with me. It touched me. It touched me in another way, and I need to think about it. So you're trying to get a message out to people who your message is going to resonate with, people who will love your message, who are ready to take action. You're not talking to people who are going to reject it. So I'm going to try and show you an image here. So hopefully this will work. And I don't know if this is going to be backwards or not, but this is the old bell curve, right? So the way I interpret the bell curve is, and we all know the 80-20 rule, right? So look at a bell curve, and the people who are over here, right? These are the people who you want to talk to. These are the people who initially, when they hear your message, they just go, amen, I'm with you, right? They're ready to dive in. Then you have people, as you go up the curve, they might need a little bit more information. So these folks, maybe they hear you and they go, yep, I'm in. And they're ready to work with you. These folks up here might be the kind that maybe you need a little bit more information for them. Maybe you need to have a conversation or a deeper conversation, or you have a conversation and maybe you also send them some kind of additional packet or information. And then the higher you go, these people need more help in making a decision. This is hard to do. I want you to know. They need more help in making a decision. You do not want to talk to these people over here because they're not ready yet. They have their own path to walk. They may never be ready. There are the haters. There are people who think you're full of it. There are people who think you're just out for yourself. You're not talking to them. That's the way I look at it. You're just not talking to them. So let's look at why we don't focus on getting our message out. I'm going to take a sip. Feel free to make comments, ask questions while I do this. Thanks to the love. And by the way, if this is resonating with you, please feel free to share it and let's get the message out to others in your connections who need this message as well. I'm itchy. Man, change of seasons makes me crazy. We've got lawn mowing going on in town and I get itchy around that time, but I digress. All right, so let's talk about why we don't focus on getting our message clear and getting our message out, because we're afraid. It's that simple. There's something in here that makes you afraid. We're afraid of making mistakes. We are afraid of offending people. We're afraid of not being perfect. We're afraid of not getting clients. We're afraid of getting clients. We're afraid of success. So when fear wins, love loses. And if you didn't get a chance to watch the sermon by Reverend Michael Curry, who is I think he's the presiding bishop of the Episcopal Church in the United States, and the sermon that he gave at the royal wedding that happened over the weekend, I'm going to include a link to that because you really need to watch it. It was surprising. I actually watched it while it was happening. I turned on the news and there it was. And I have to say, I was sitting there with my mouth open at one point. So it was very startling, but it's very powerful and very appropriate for the message that I'm sharing with you here. So remember, when fear wins, love loses. Let's go back to that scripture, to the quote. Christians know it as the second of the great commandments, and that is, you shall love your neighbor, right? Now, if you really believed in your message and believed your message was truly transformative and you loved your neighbor, wouldn't you then do whatever you needed to do to get your message out and into the ears and hearts of the right person? That would be in alignment with your statement that you love your neighbor, right? But there's actually two parts to that commandment. And it alludes to what I refer to as the unspoken commandment. The statement is actually, you shall love your neighbor as yourself. Go look it up, as yourself. You shall love your neighbor as yourself. And I think that's a big part of the problem, that we don't really love ourselves. We can't give what we haven't got. We end up looking outside of ourselves for approval. We believe that people saying no to us is a reflection on us personally and on our worth, and that somebody saying no to us means that we're not good enough. And I'm here to tell you that's wrong. So what if it was a reflection that they're not ready to work with us? That they're saying no to the opportunity to bring change into their lives? Maybe they recognize that they're not the right client for you. Then they're doing you a favor by saying no. Again, I'm not saying that you don't have to reflect on your message and ask yourself what you could have done better, said differently, etc. But there are some key issues in enrolling clients. I'm just going to hit them really quickly here because I'm going to be wrapping up in just a few minutes. So first and foremost is you have to detach from the outcome. This means that you recognize that hearing no is not a reflection on you personally. Taking that no personally means that you are too invested in the outcome and it's too connected to your self-worth. Your worth as a person comes from the fact that you exist and that you're a good person, whether you get rejected or not. So you might have to get a job. Is that the worst thing that could happen to you? I don't think so. You might have to not eat out as much and clip coupons. That's not the worst thing that could happen to you either. All right, so detach from the outcome. Next is you got to get your message out loudly and clearly, and you got to get good at delivering it. The more you put your message out, the more compelling the message becomes, and the more shareable it becomes to other people, and the more people want it and are ready to hear it. That comes through practice. That's all it is. It's just a matter of practicing your message, but also connecting to the love that's in your heart and that's in that message. So since you're mission driven, I know you want to help people and I know you can recognize how they need what you have, but people take action when they're ready. You can help them get more ready, but they have to be at a point in their own process, in their own journey to take action. So one reason we hate selling is because we hate the idea of trying to convince or persuade people. If that's what you're doing, you're talking to the wrong people. You're doing it wrong. Sales involves 4 elements: educate, elevate, inspire, and invite. Educate your audience about their problem, about how to fix it, about an aspect of their problem they didn't realize. When you do that, you elevate yourself in their eyes. They see you as a trusted advisor. You're demonstrating what it would be like to work with you. You inspire them to think bigger and to go for the change that you offer them. And then you just invite them to take the next step. That's it. It's just an invitation. And it feels so natural when you're talking to the right people. It's not icky. It's only icky when you make it icky. So how that relates to love is, I think it comes from a position of love in your heart. It doesn't come from a place of persuade, convince, and convert. It doesn't. Remember, educate, elevate, inspire, and invite. All right, so before I go down too many more side roads, let's wrap this up. So this week's message on the Courageous Entrepreneur Show is all about creating a success mindset and some of the components of that. Alignment, being authentic, having faith in yourself, and yes, faith in a higher power. In this after show episode, I wanted to dive deeper into the underlying foundation of a success mindset, and I believe that's love. Love of your message, love of your gifts, love of yourself, and love for those you serve. Remember, if fear wins, you don't just hold yourself back, but you prevent those who would have a breakthrough transformation from actually having it. So if you found this information helpful, please comment and please share it with your connections who you think would benefit from the message. And if we're not friends already or connections yet, you can send me a friend request. You can like my business page, or even better, you can become a fan of the Courageous Entrepreneur Show. When you do that on my website at winnieanderson.com/fans, you're going to get episodes delivered right to your inbox every week, along with information, tips, and resources to help you come out of hiding, to gain the courage, confidence, and clarity that you need to make the impact that you dream of. And if you think you're ready to get help on your journey of building a thriving business, remember, if you're an introverted, mission-driven, service-based professional, drop me a note and let's talk. If I can't help you, I'm sure I know somebody who can. So thanks for watching. This has been Winnie Anderson, business strategist, author, and host of the Courageous Entrepreneur Show. Remember, you deserve all the success you dream of. Bye for now.